Yo, welcome back. And today we are bringing you Scepter. And the reason I'm bringing you guys Scepter today is because I really feel like I did a disservice to the weapon in my Priest video that I posted about a month ago at this point. And I really wanted to take my time and give you some quality information on the Scepter itself and give you a good Goldbrook experience of it as well. So sorry the last video wasn't the best. I'm hoping this one does it a lot more justice. And thank you guys so much. And let's get right into it with our traits. Right, and then into the traits. I know I went over all these the last time. This time I'm just going to go over the ones that are like pretty specific to the Scepter exactly. So the first one I'll talk about is Starburst, which is when my star detonates inside of a Heaven's Fury. It is a guaranteed critical strike, and it also spawns a Spark, which is another one of our traits, and Holy Sparks will give you an additional 10% damage, stacking up to 3 times if you pick it up or your enemies pick it up and become silenced. Holy Sparks, it doesn't tell you exactly how they spawn, but they spawn from the Beacon of Hope full charge, which is one of the Scepters, as well as exploding a star inside of your Heaven's Fury. Evading Light, the weapon does have an evade attack, even if we don't use it or talk about it very much. So keep that in mind. It can give you 10 energy in a moment that you absolutely need it by evade attacking. And your evade attack does like 25% more damage. And then the other one is, while they are penanced, you generate the chance to crit them, and when you crit them, you generate 10 energy, which is really cool. Outside of that, it's just like your normal levitate and your spirit shell, which will allow you to hold your block for an extended period of time, and then the shell will stay on you for a extended period of time. Outside of that, nothing too much to really discuss as far as the Scepter. So with that being said, let's get right into the skills. All right, so the first skill that the Scepter has is Healing Spark, which is your heal. One of the things that I love about the Scepter is that you can actually block and heal at the same time. I'll show you more of that in Goldbrook when we're going over the weapon. But this is what makes the Scepter so good in PvP in general, is just the ability to constantly heal yourself and keep you feeling like a tank even though you're unbelievably squishy. The moment that you get tied down for any reason, you are dead. The minute you stam out, you are dead. But if you can find your way to weave in and out of fights efficiently, this class almost feels immortal to the people that you're fighting. And it's because you're able to do healing. The second one is... We're not going to talk about it, because why would we? Number 2, don't use this. Don't use this. I don't care what you say about niche uses, this, that, the third, damage through. Stop using this. It is a waste of your mana on a Scepter. If you're using this, you're losing abilities that you absolutely need to be focusing on and using, like Heaven's Fury. Don't use this. Stop using this. I don't care. Stop using this. Very good. All right. In your star, you actually have 2 options for the star, and they play similarly but differently, which is Gleaming and Guided. Gleaming Star and Guided Star do the exact same amount of explosion damage when they pop. The difference is with Gleaming Star, it's attracted to the player itself, autopilots them, and the Guided Star, you pilot. The Guided Star can pass through your enemy and explode, technically giving you a little bit more damage. However, you are stuck standing still when using Guided Star. You can evade directly out after casting it to proc it and explode it immediately if there's somebody in your face. And if you watch the Meet the Devs, you'll see that Chris calls that the ghetto nuke, because that's essentially what it is. You're just exploding a star rapidly as fast as you can. I personally started using Gleaming Star a little bit more. I wouldn't say that it is meta. I wouldn't say either one of these are meta. I would say that these are choices that you make depending on how you want to play the class. For me, because of how the Auto attacking works for the Scepter. If I throw out a Gleaming Star, it allows me to start throwing some auto attacks and some extra chip damage while forcing them to either stam away from the Gleaming Star, or it's going to surprise and hit them because there's just a lot of stuff happening at the same time. But by all means, if you want to use Guided Star because you're comfortable with it and everybody's been talking about it since the beginning of the season, it's still very good. It's still very valuable, and you can still get a lot out of it. And a lot of what I was doing with the Priest was playing 1v2s, and I couldn't justify the use of the stamina to evade out of my Guided Star to break it all the time. And if there's two people and I'm stuck standing still for any period of time, that's a no bueno, because as I said, on a Priest, if you get locked down, you are automatically going to die, and there is nothing you can do about it. So, I prefer the Gleaming Star personally on the Scepter. It is definitely your choice on the Guided. Don't use bouncing. Okay. Number 3. This is the biggest one that I wish I spent more time telling you guys on the last video. This is the biggest gap in Priest skill level. The better you are at Heaven's Fury, the better you are at playing Priest. You are not a Priest. You are a Heaven's Fury bot that has Priest abilities after. Your entire gameplay loop, your entire kit is built around Heaven's Fury. This is the most important skill to get good with. I do a much better job in Goldbrook going over the importance of this skill and the versions of it to take advantage of so that you can level up the gameplay to play Priest at a higher level. It has nothing to do with anything else on your kit other than Heaven's Fury. Stop using Heaven's Ward. Stop using... Why are we using this? It's a Heaven's Fury meta. Heaven's Fury is the difference on being a... really good Priest, or just being a Priest. Heaven's Ward is definitely more of a sword and shield ability. It's probably the only place that this has any use at all. On a Scepter, don't. It is Heaven's Fury every day, all day, no matter what, and getting really good with this is important. Now, just like the Ice Wizard guide, I will tell you this is not where your skills end. With a Priest, a lot of your survival comes from your tools. And your tools are your cards here. And this is the layout that I use for my cards. I don't run double shields. I actually use all of my cards. Every single one of them, they all have a really nice use. And I use them all very frequently. And I'm going to go over them now because you need to know what they do because they are unbelievably important for the class. The first one is the Prayer card, Holy Shield. And this is your essentially just your bread and butter, and I don't run 6 of them, so I use them a little bit more sparingly than most people, but a lot of people don't run the mending card, so they bring 6 Holy Shields. This will shield you with a 20-second cooldown for 200 health that actually scales, I just noticed and recently found out, with your weapon. So the higher tier your weapon, the better your shield actually ends up being. But this is really good for stopping a lot of chip damage on you if you use this on cooldown. 200 HP is 200 HP. That's a lot. Not to mention your shell around it. So you can have this card and your shell active at the same time. So not only do they have to go through your shell, they also now have to go through your Holy Shield. And by the time they get through that, if you're evading the fight well enough, you should be just about ready to put your shell back up. And then you can just start cycling between these two, between your shell and your Holy Shield, your shell and your Holy Shield, your shell and your Holy Shield, and it will keep you very, very safe. There is definitely a skill level here to learn, but that's essentially just a quick breakdown of it. Your spiritual heal, it will heal you for, I believe, 30% of your health. I don't quote me on that, but it's close. It's got a 45-second cooldown, but it is a lifesaver. And this is such a mental warfare ability, because a lot of people don't realize how powerful this spiritual heal is with your Qs, which is your actual healing. This will keep you in a fight for so long and convince your enemies you're about to die when you're at 80% HP. Spiritual heal, really nice. You can't use it while being staggered, so there's a couple things to learn about it, but very, very good nonetheless. Prayer cards mending. At the beginning of the season, it did not work, and it functioned poorly, even when I made that video at the beginning of the season. But since then, I can assure you, I have played with it. It has been fixed, and let me tell you, it is so unbelievably underrated. As a priest, you are a cloth class. You take a lot of damage. It feels like you don't, because you're able to heal so much. And because you're able to heal so much, naturally, over time, if you're playing the class right, you're going to have a lot of wound buildup because you're not bandaging. You're never really resetting these fights. You're just in these fights, finding opportunities to reset in the middle of fights. And you just, over time, build up a lot of this wound damage. And this takes away like 40% of your wound immediately. And you can hit this and then your spiritual healing card. They do not share the same cooldown. So this is an underrated card once you really untap the class itself and the flow of it. I love the mending card now. I can't fathom taking it off my bar, and the amount of times that this card has saved my life is insane. Keep it, use it, learn it, love it. Trust me. And then the cleansing magic card. This is a must. Every other class has to sacrifice something on their tool belt to deal with being poisoned or to deal with a combustion proc. Priests have it in the back of their pocket at all times. Excuse me. It is a 60-second cooldown, which sometimes actually feels like a really pain in the ass. I'm not going to lie. But it is such a good card to immediately throw off any type of poison, any type of combustion on you immediately. Frost, all of it. It does work for teammates. So if you're playing in a comp, you can actually remove a debuff on them as well. And it removes all of the debuffs. The spiritual heal card does not work on your teammates, but the Holy Shield and the Cleanse Magic card both work on your teammates. So keep that in mind if you're a team player. That being said, that is all the skills that I have. Next, let's go right into the gear. All right, and on to the gear. I personally love to use the Beacon of Hope as far as my Scepter goes. Because if I am able to pull off a charged attack, I will get one of those Holy Sparks that I talked about, getting me 10% additional damage for 30 seconds. And it actually will go with my shoulder pads, which is my Battle Priest shoulder guards, which will give me increased movement speed, allowing me to either run away or to chase somebody. The chase is a little bit harder than it used to be when you could spawn a Heaven's Fury and pick up the star while chasing somebody. But since it doesn't work that way, it's more or less used in a fight. If I can pick it up, it's just a really nice benefit to have. The other staffs, so like the Blazing Dawn, targets with charged heal restore a moderate amount of energy. I actually found these in a couple 0 to hero runs when I was using it, and I was surprised at how much I genuinely liked getting a little bit of the energy back. I think a lot of reasons that people default over to the staff is because the Glowing Sanctum will give you that energy, but I came to find out that the Blazing Dawn kind of feels nice, because if you heal yourself in the fight, and you are a target, right? If you heal yourself, it'll give you energy back at the cost of spirit, but in a class and a weapon that struggles to maintain its mana because of how often you're using your abilities, the Blazing Dawn didn't feel too bad. The other one was the Lunar Warden, which your charge attack reduced the maximum stamina for a short duration. I haven't done a whole lot of testing with this. I know it goes through block, and I think the number is 20 stamina, but I don't know the time frame of it or the short duration point on it. I would say that if it removes stamina from your enemy and you're like frequently using your charged attacks and you really, really, really are constantly leaning on it, you might be able to get use out of this. But for me personally, I've just built my playstyle around the Beacon of Hope and honestly the Blazing Dawn, which I didn't hate a whole lot. As far as your headpiece, I use Divinity Embrace. I don't think there's another option right now currently. I mean, they do some stuff. I don't personally like them. If you find use on them, by all means, keep using them. The reason I personally like Divinity Embrace is because it lets my shell proc faster, which if I'm in the middle of a fight, sometimes I want to get like a battle shell to go off, and this just makes it a lot easier to give me my 3 pips of immunity in, you know, whatever it is, 3 seconds rather than 4, or 3 seconds instead of 5. I can tell you it is a noticeable difference. Without it, I can feel I don't have it and I don't like it because I've played with it and it makes my life a lot easier and it allows my playstyle to be a little bit more fluid. As I mentioned with the Battle Priest shoulder guards, it combos really well with my sparks of my Beacon's Hope and gives me my movement speed. And the other shoulders are, they're just, one of them takes away your spirit, which is absolutely horrible because it doesn't do anything. Like the amount of healing is absurd that it just doesn't work. Trust me. Don't use Divinity. And then the Mirror Shield, don't use your shield. Okay. So Battle Priest is the one. Trust me. Okay. Battle Priest Guard is the one that I use because it's the one that I found. And the other one that I'll use because it's what I found is the Divinity Guard. I will interchange and use both of these. They are both a viable option. The Battle Priest allows you to reflect a little bit of damage back to your enemy if they attack you, kind of like the Wizard has with his block in the fire buildup or whatever. This will do the same thing for your shell, which is really nice. I've actually killed people with this before. It can come in handy, I'm not going to lie. And then the other one is a defensive option where your Holy card heals a little bit for a percentage of the shield amount. So if you have a teammate and they're low and you're going to shield them and try to heal them through whatever they're going through, if you're wearing the divinities and you throw a shield on them, they will automatically get healed for a portion of that, and then you can start healing them directly. Same thing with yourself. If you put a shield card on yourself and you're low, it will actually heal you for a little bit as well. Both of these are absolutely fantastic, and they're interchangeable. It's really a preference of what you like. I mean, the drip, though. You know what I'm saying? The drip. And then the last one is the Radiant Legs. And the Radiant Legs are really the only option, again, in my opinion, because the class has one weakness. The class's weakness is being tied down. It's being chased. It's being completely swarmed and overwhelmed. The minute you are no longer able to squirm in and out of places, you are dead. You are the squishiest thing on existence. Radiant Legs give you another answer to that problem, which is by throwing a star out and it explodes on an enemy, it snares them for like a second and a half. It is huge. It makes such a difference if you're getting attacked by a rogue to throw a star directly in their face and slow them down from being able to pummel you. 100% love the Radiant Legs, and don't use your mirror ever. Okay? Stop using your mirror. All right. Into Goldbrook we go. Let's talk about it. All right, welcome to Goldbrook, and what we're going to start by going over is essentially the bread and butter to the class and the things that you really want to focus on if you're playing Scepter Priest. And the biggest thing that I can tell you to work with and get really, really good at is your Heaven's Fury. And I realized in my last video I did a really bad job at explaining to you how important Heaven's Fury is, as well as explaining the different levels of Heaven's Fury that there are. And there's 3 different levels, and we're going to break them down now so you have a full understanding of how important this skill actually is. If I have a target or a PvE mob, and I just tap my Heaven's Fury, which is my 3 ability, it will target them and stay with them. If that's on a player, they have the ability to evade out of it, stopping you from actually getting that stun off, which is no bueno. You want to get the stun off. The next thing that you can do is you can hold it slightly, and you can choose where it goes rather than target them directly, and it's a little bit easier to hit when you're trying to gauge where they're landing or where they're going, and predicting what they're doing a little better. Now, there's a third one, which is a long hold, and when you long hold, what this does is the minute I let go, the Heaven's Fury comes down significantly faster. And this is the Heaven's Fury that you need to work on the absolute most, because this is the one that is going to dictate how well you're able to play a priest into any other matchups. When using a Scepter, you run out of mana very fast. But if you don't miss your Heaven's Furies and you're very, very good with them, chances are you're going to win most of your matches because the enemy is going to get frustrated with how many times they get stunned by you. A lot of my fighting is just me running around, throwing off auto attacks, and looking for a really big stun into a star combo for the guaranteed crit. And as I mentioned in the skill section, I use both Guided and Gleaming for different purposes. But right now I have the Gleaming on. But the combo that I'm always looking for is this really big Heaven's Fury into a Star Explosion for that guaranteed crit, as well as a guaranteed spawn of my Spark, which, like I said before, will give me 10% increased damage, stacking up to 3 times for 30 seconds. The timer does reset every time you pick one up, so if I go ahead and do this again, and I don't have enough mana, but I can spawn another star with my Beacon of Hope here. The timer resets every time, and as you can see, we start hitting extremely hard. Oh, I crit because he's Penitence. With just our regular auto attacks. It's about, like I said, 30% increased damage by picking up all 3 of them. In a fight, it is not always feasible to grab your stars. It is not always feasible to grab your stars. But if you see them, it is important to go out of your way to pick them up, because that additional damage that you do does make an impact in the fight. But essentially, Heaven's Fury is the biggest factor in leveling up your gameplay. How well you can hit this Heaven's Fury determines how well you do against a lot of your matchups. And you'll see a lot of different examples of this while I was streaming, as well as in the video when I commentate. If I have a warrior that's charging to me, I'll throw it directly at my feet at the last second, take the charge hit, but stun them in the combo. So I'm taking the hit from him charging me, but I stun him at my feet, and then throw the star at him to crit him as well. So although I take some damage, he takes a lot more damage and has to reset, and I can just evade through him and do a lot of other things to really keep up my combos. The class itself has not the worst stamina issues in the game, but it doesn't have the best stamina in the game either. So stamming out on your class is something that you might do quite often, and learning to manage that stamina in fights with other classes is just part of learning the game over time that you pick up. But in terms of the Scepter itself and how to really make sure that you're maximizing the ability that the weapon has, your time should be spent fully focusing on this Heaven's Fury ability and how to maximize using it. Every opportunity you have to hit a really, really nice stun, you should do it. Now, a couple other things that I've learned recently as well about the class that I really enjoyed with my stars was in certain matchups, because I love to use these Radiant legs, which we went over, I like to just throw the star out there and get that snare on them, even if I don't have my Heaven's Fury on the ground. My combo is always to try to hit that Heaven's Fury first, but don't be afraid if you're getting swarmed by a melee class to just throw out a star willy-nilly. You're going to snare them and give you an opportunity to walk backwards and just auto-attack them for free chip damage. Or run away fully if you need a reset. That being said, that's pretty much the combo that I go for. Now let's get into the actual weapon itself and the things that you have with the weapon. First thing to note with the Scepter is you have not so many different options as far as the weapon itself. So you have an auto attack, And then you also have, believe it or not, an evade attack, where I'll show you the difference. So if you tap once, I'll do 108 damage, and if I evade attack, it comes out a little faster, and it looks like I do about 25% more damage. So show you that one more time. So the weapon technically has an evade attack, but it doesn't feel very good at all. So I usually don't even use that in anything at all. The other things that you have with the weapon is 3 auto attacks, and they are tracking, so they'll actually track your target as you're going along. And then the weapon also has a charged attack. And if you hold it long enough, you'll actually get these 3 bars. If you switch targets, it'll actually switch the targets pretty fast for the most part, and you can even split them up if you do it right. The other parts of the weapon really are your bubble, which is your shield. This one has 3 pips. If you left click while holding this down, it'll actually provide a push out, and it actually I use this often when trying to get melee off of me, and it tends to be a little bit more useful than I used to use it for, but it's definitely got some value. If you ever notice that you're going to get swarmed by a melee and you have a second to, you know, get it off, or if you have your shield procced, it allows you to actually have a really good pushback into like a star combo, if you will. But really, the essence of the class and the reason why I like this playstyle so much is because it has this auto aim on it. So when I'm fighting somebody and I'm looking for these Heaven's Furies and these star combos, this allows me to get a lot of extra DPS out in the fight without having to worry about aiming. It's almost like it's something that I can just throw out there and not have to pay a whole lot of attention to. Other things with the weapon that are super important, and I know that I talked about this on my last video with the priest, but the movement on this is super, super important, and I've even learned more since the last time, so I wanted to share that with you guys. The sprint mechanic that you do is when you jump and then hit your attack, it'll thrust you forward like that. And as you see, when I land and I put my weapon away, I still have this little bit of a slow getaway. To counteract that, if you're full running and you do the sprint combo on flat ground, if you jump and end the combo with an evade, you actually still keep your momentum. So you can do that to keep your momentum while chasing somebody and not have to worry about them getting too far away and still utilizing that distance that you get. Another thing that I learned is how to use my terrain very well. So if I do that off of a ledge, like this for instance, if the weapon gets put away fast enough while you're still in the air, you don't even have to do the evade. You can actually just go right into the continuation of the movement without the loss of the movement speed. So those didn't seem like they were quite high enough, but you just have to kind of feel what that right height is. And while you're playing, you'll see a lot, while I'm playing, you see a lot of times that I jump off of things and I start looking for those Heaven's Furies in the air with these commentations that I do. And the reason why is because I'm moving a lot of distance and I'm looking to stop somebody from running away. And a lot of times people don't expect you coming from the rafters, right? So that is one of my favorite combos to really getting these Heaven's Furies out. And as we talked about, getting your Heaven's Fury to proc and really hitting all of your stars is just simply going to elevate your game to the next level as a priest in general, whether you're using the staff or the scepter. One of the major reasons that I prefer the scepter over the staff is because of the ability that I have to hold my block and heal myself. So that one specific ability is so crucial to the success on the way that I play the scepter because of how adaptable I am in situations where I'm getting harassed. If I'm getting overly harassed and I'm in a fight where somebody can't break my shield immediately, to be able to get a really quick 195 heal off in the middle of a fight is very, very, very strong. And when playing a priest, all of your cards down here, which we talked about, are also very important. So if I ever have a lot of wound damage, I can just clear 30% of my wound with my F2 card immediately. And if I have my shield procced, and my shells popped already. I can also use my 9, which is my heal card, which heals for about 30% of my health in one hit. And if I don't have my shell, the entire time I'm doing that, I can hold my block and heal myself for another 195. The hardest thing to do on a priest is not get caught. And the minute that you have this ability to stop getting caught, gives you this unbelievable resilience in battle if you can cycle through all of your cards appropriately. The last card is your Holy Shield card, and this one gives me a 260 shield. It will still stagger you. If you actually have a healing potion on you, it'll stop rogues from being able to poison dart you to stop your healing. So keep that in mind as well. A little tidbit about that card itself. And then my cleanse card I use against anything that wants to poison me, combust me, like wizards. All of the cards are super useful, and you'll see in all of the commentary right after this how often I'm using these cards in these fights to really maintain my HP up. And a lot of times what you'll find in these fights is that people are almost confused on why you're not dying, and it's because you're cycling through all of these extremely powerful defensive cooldowns that they really don't understand what's happening, and so they just assume that you're low even though you might be 80% HP. So priests are really, really good at that. That being said, on to the next. I'm bringing you back for one more thing I forgot. It's really important that you know this about not only the Scepter, but also the staff. They have charged heals. So if I tap my Q, which is my heal ability, it'll heal me for the 195 that I showed you before. However, if I hold my Q, as you can see, I get these 3 layers, just like my charged auto attack. And if I let go, it'll heal me for that. It'll heal me 3 times, essentially, for my base heal amount. I ran out of spirit to show you that, but the staff does not have that. It just charges up and heals longer, but you do have a charged heal, and it's very important to use. For the first clip we have here, actually something kind of special. This is me trying to 1v2 that actually ends up being a 1v6. And as we go through this, you'll see plenty of the examples of what I told you before, where I'm just really looking for these Heaven's Furies and these extremely useful resets in the middle of fights to throw off my opponents. So let's get into it and watch it. And he stands out in front of me. He's taking the... Good night, bitch. Next. Alright, now this is one of the rare opportunities where just tapping your Heaven's Fury ends up being extremely valuable. As you can see, he was stamped out in front of me, and I took that opportunity to get a guaranteed stun on him while he was trying to run away from me. Wizard. No way, I stam out. Notice how instinctively, the minute I stam out, I immediately start hitting myself with my shield card, with my shell. I'm just trying to survive the moment, essentially, to where I can get my stamina back up. I take a potion here, and I'm back alive, and I had to pretty much go through all of my defensive combos to do that, and I'm still relatively healthy by the end. A quick note, as I mentioned, I don't use a lot of resets. They're trying to reset. I have a bunch of wound damage, and as you can see, it's gone. And I never had to reset. I'm still in the fight. They still have to deal with me. I just really wanted to reiterate how powerful that those auto attacks were, and that's just one of the reasons why I love the Scepter so much, is because I'm able just to do my normal run around and find an ability to just kill somebody with these auto attacks that just target them. You guys want me on your team? All right. And this looks absolutely terrifying. I have a Sentinel Strike, Swift Bow, and a Fire Wizard on me, and I am getting absolutely pummeled. However, we don't freak out. We reset in the fight.
Break
I use
that.
my rock. I get rid of
Heal
my
up.
wound, and I have to be absolutely immortal in the
way.
eyes of what these guys are fighting right now, because they had just done so much
literally
damage
just
to me,
fucking
and I'm still
absolutely
here,
taking the
you know,
piss here.
kind of
I'm
full
out
HP,
of
just
fucking-
kind of baiting them into thinking that I'm low for the chase.
I'm out of heals. I really just need to stop sucking here on this guy. I really need to just kill this guy before his wizard comes back. He's gonna stamp himself out here in a second. He's stunned. And he dies. Alright, I need to reset.
And this is a 1v2 clip that I had against a wizard and a rogue. And the reason why is because it just goes to show you, again, how well I'm able to take advantage of my ability to stay healthy in a fight while just also being pummeled at the same time by using all of my resources efficiently. When in doubt, just remember, you can jump off ledges and be safe. That was a really dangerous spot, but there isn't another class in the game that can chase me down there without taking an insane amount of damage. This is a good use of environment. Don't forget that as a priest, your environment is also your benefit. These guys are officially dealing with a bunch of mobs instead of resetting because I just left them all on them, which allows me to reset and come back. We catch the rogue into a nasty stun. I should be dead, but I'm not, because I got my shell procced, because I used my shield card, because I used my heal card, because I am a priest, I used my wound card, and these guys have been fighting the whole time. But look how healthy I am, and they are still running for their lives. He stammed out. And in the 1v2, this is a situation I look for. I know that rogue has to reset because I got my reset off in the fight, and now it's a 1v1. And if I'm doing this to them in the 1v2, if you leave me alone too long with your buddy, he's gonna feel the pain. And this is the first time you see me do a charged attack the entire time. And because I used it at such a crucial moment, it secures me the kill and honestly, the fight. So it is a weapon to be used. He's going to try to pick up his friend, and he gets jump stunned here and absolutely pummeled. This was absolutely an insane fight top to bottom. All right, thank you boys so much for watching the video. And girls, I really appreciate the support and the love that you guys give me on my YouTube. It makes this all worth doing every time. If this video helped you at all, or you got anything out of it, or you just feel like we're improving the channel and you want to support it a little more and help me make better videos, give me a comment below. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like, how I can get better. Give me a like, give me a subscription, hit those buttons. Thank you so much. I love you guys. And until next time. Oh, wait. Next time is now. I am live on Twitch and YouTube Monday through Friday, and my Twitch is my house name as well as my username right here. Come check me out. I love it when you guys come say hi. Thank you guys again, and until next time, peace.